Good morning, grandkids. Welcome back to Grandma's bookshelf. And I've been reading you little stories that I had written in my blog called Grandma's World of Skyrim. And they're little stories just as though I was walking through Skyrim and encountering things. So this one is the third story, and it's the last one that I wrote. And these were all written back in 2019. I haven't written in it since. I meant to during this time off from recording, but I keep doing other things instead. Anyway, this one is called The Majestic Dragon. Ambling through one of the snow-capped mountain ranges that border Skyrim, I was feeling the cold seeping through my fur-lined armor. I was looking for a shelter, like a hollow or a rock crevice, where I could just hunker down for a while to warm up. I finally found a reasonable shelter from at least the biting wind among several tightly grouped pine trees. I was sitting there gazing out over the beautiful land sloping down and away from me, the snow eventually blending into the golden hues of the winter's dying growth of grasses. Then, farther down, sloped the greens and reds and purples, where the grass and flowers still felt the warmth of the sun. My eyes were following the mincing steps of a buck as he gazed, lifting his head once in a while to sniff the air and listen for any sounds of nearby danger. He bore a magnificent, heavy rack of antlers. Beautiful creature. Suddenly his head snapped up at the same time that I heard a mighty roaring coming with the wind from up mountain. A bear? No, totally different sound. I jumped up, moving out of the shelter of the pines, and saw a huge flying creature as it soared through the air down the mountain slope. It was a dragon, of course. I watched as it fixed its attention on the buck. No, I breathed out quietly. Don't kill it. I had my bow and a few arrows with me, and a sword. If I had to, I would intervene. Maybe I could distract it. I picked up some large rocks and started throwing them as the dragon cruised by me only a few yards away. The buck was startled enough to go bounding away down into the meadow, just as the dragon let go with a fiery blast from its open mouth. I was thinking that the buck got away, but now the dragon's attention was focused on me. It could be angry or hungry. It wheeled majestically and came my way. I ran for the trees. I neither wanted to feel the brunt of its anger or to be its lunch. I watched from the shelter of the pines. To me, dragons are a thing of beauty, same as the buck or any other wild animal. Some could be dangerous, no doubt, and sometimes you would have to kill them in self-defense or to protect others. But I'd never kill such a beauty for sport. I realized that I was whispering, "Please, please, just go on your way." This particular dragon was a dusty gray with a slight golden cast to its scales, blending to a red around its eyes and down the front of its throat. Its tail was tipped as with 3 arrows, A deadly weapon if it swung and connected with you. The sun was shining on it just right, in a way that made it gleam even more golden. I gloried in its beauty, but worried about its intent. It swept past the pines, knowing where I was hiding, and blew out another fiery blast, directed at the very spot in which I was hiding. Ouch! It caught me a good one, and I felt the burning fire. I dropped to the ground and rolled, slapping at any exposed flesh. Hot, hot, hot. I watched as he circled around, ready for another run at me. I ran for some rocks and scrambled deep among them. He knew where I was. His next pass was as accurate as the previous one, and the fiery blast caught me again. I wasn't going to last long at this rate, and he wasn't going away. I didn't want to kill it, but I didn't want to be cooked either. Hating what I was having to do, I nevertheless drew my bow and nocked an arrow, aiming at its throat. The arrow zinged on its way and hit its mark. The dragon wheeled away, probably more stunned by my nerve than hurt. He came in for the kill again. I had changed position, and he hadn't corrected for that, and my arrow caught him in the chest, directly in the heart. When a dragon is mortally wounded, they raise their necks high as if gasping for the last bit of air they can catch, and then collapsing onto the ground with a resounding crash, dirt spraying up around them. Then the silence, the quiet, even the birds have stilled. I slowly walked toward him, making sure that he wasn't moving. As I drew close to him, I did not feel a triumph of conquering. I did not feel pride. I felt sorrow and sadness. I reached out and touched him, trying to feel a connection with his departing spirit. I dropped my head and grieved, a tear falling free. Did he have a mate back at his cairn, watching for his return? Did he have young, waiting? I grieved. Would you? So that's the end of that story. Maybe I'll write another blog in there one of these days. But until then, next Friday we'll start some book from Skyrim. I don't know which one right now, but next week will be a book out of Skyrim. So I will see you all later, grandkids. Goodbye.